I always reserve June for LGBTQ plus books. My reviews, my bookish content, my reading time, everything. It's my way of joining the celebration of Pride. So let's jump right into the stories I chose for this year. But before we continue, help me make more episodes. How? Buy me a coffee to support my small channel. Let's keep the book talk going. The Pairing. Casey McQuiston is becoming one of my favorite authors of queer books very fast. It all started with Red, White, and Royal Blue. It took me some time to finally sit down and grab it, but once I started, it was worth the wait. The story itself, the critique to society, the romance, it was amazing. It was worth all the hype. So imagine when The Pairing came out. After I read the premise, I knew this was another story worth my time, and it didn't disappoint. Remember Elizabeth Gilbert's famous memoir, Eat, Pray, Love? Well, take it into fiction, and there you have it. This is a trip through food and pastries that will melt your tongue. It's a trip through art and culture that'll make you want to book a flight to Europe. You also have multiple love affairs, more like a competition, a passionate competition that will end in the ultimate best friends to lovers with heartbreak to a hot reunion kind of situation. And boy, they'll be praying to their bodies and shouting hallelujah to the seven skies. This is how it goes. Theo and Kit went from childhood best friends to lovers, but a fight went wrong and they never got home together. Kit moved to France to study patisserie. Theo stayed in California mixing cocktails and working as a sommelier. 4 years later, that food and wine trip they never got to do together, whose voucher is about to expire, will be their fortuitous chance to be in the same latitude for 3 weeks. Love hasn't died, and no matter with how many lovers they try to bury it, their feelings will catch with them. So a big decision to make. Alive together or go their separate ways again? What do you think they'll choose? Now, moving on to the series, let me talk about Carving Shadows into Gold. This is the second book of the Forging Silver into Stars series by Bridget Kemmerer. Its beginning under the same name was a book I really enjoyed, which is why I was really excited to continue with the sequel. In Forging Silver into Stars, we follow, on one hand, two best friends, Jax and Callan, who live under harsh conditions. They're both struggling to pay their dues, and because of it, they'll make a grave mistake. On the other hand, you'll meet Tico, one of the king's best friends and now his official courier, whose past is heavy and his present troublesome. What they all don't know is that there's a conspiracy against the crown, and the royals' lives are in danger. Mistakes aside, it seems they all joined the right side of history to stop these enemies' attempts. However, as we continue the story in Carving Shadows into Gold, the future of the once-at-peace kingdoms of Embershaw and Seal Shallow is on a tightrope. Trust is nowhere to be found. Resentment and fear abound. Magic and its magemaids are being hunted. Relationships are fragile. Distance is causing havoc, and the solutions seem only temporary. But we're left not knowing if a long-lasting embrace will bridge the gap and heal the wounds. We're left not knowing how and where the war will implode. We're not sure still who to trust. And the Queen and the King? Well, there's definitely heartbreak in the horizon. All that said, yes, maybe the second book wasn't a favorite because, to be honest, not much happened. It was slow and ended a bit abruptly. So we can say it was kind of a feeling, what we call the middle book syndrome. However, I trust the next one will solve my doubts. So you can guarantee I'll be waiting to read Sparking Fire Out of Fate. By the way, I love these titles. They're like a poetic intrigue on their own. And to finish with my book selection for this Pride Month, I've read Heaven's Official Blessing because, of course, I can talk of LGBTQ+ without including Danmei. If you're a regular in this channel, you know I love this genre, these slow-burn Chinese, fantastical, melt-to-melt romances and all its cultural intricacies. Now, I first found this story on Netflix, actually. This book series has 2-season TV series. You can find it on multiple platforms. MDS, please, watch it. So by that time, I didn't know it was based on a book, and I certainly hadn't heard of Danmei. But later on, when I got more acquainted with the genre, I realized the coincidence and it immediately added to my TBR. The problem with Danmei series, though, is that they are long and there's no way I'll be reading them as ebooks. So yes, it will take me a while to finish them all. Nevertheless, I can tell you that I'm on the second book and I can't wait to buy the third because there's action, people. I've already seen the picture inside the book. There's action. So this time, we have a story involving heaven and hell, although it would be more accurate to call the latter the ghost realm. We have a human who ascended as a god very young because of his great feats, but he's then expelled multiple times actually. He's a great person though, always trying to help and bring goodness to the realms. He will get involved in multiple ghost hunts and mysterious plots. He won't be alone. It seems he has a guardian angel, but is he an angel? You already know where this is going, right? Last to say, this story is impregnated with Chinese culture and beliefs. You'll find multiple adventures and characters, the typical fight between what's right and what's wrong, a gray line sometimes, and yes, our beautiful slow burn romance with innocence, possessiveness, protection, and layers of surprises to peel. So, which book did you find more intriguing to pick? What are you going to read for Pride? Let me know in the comments below. I'll also leave further information regarding what we've discussed in case you're interested. Thanks for watching. See you next time.